Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Friday Society. I am here with Lesley Logan. I'm so excited. I know that a lot of you guys have requested her. So, Lesley, I'm so excited you're here and I can't wait for this conversation.
Oh, it's so fun. Who doesn't want to be on a wish list? Like, that's really amazing.
Right?
Thanks for
You came
having
up
me.
like 4 times recently, and I was like, I'm getting her. Don't worry.
Wow. Thanks, everyone. Words of affirmation in my love language. So feeling super good.
Amazing. I mean, you've been in the industry for a long time, right? Like, how long now?
I've been teaching since 2008, and I've been coaching people on their business since 2010. So,
Okay.
yeah,
That's a long time. That's like pre-Instagram.
it is. It really was.
I feel like it's a good way to sort. It's like,
Yeah.
BC, right? It's like BI for
Yeah.
Instagram.
Oh my God. We should make that a thing. Like, I started but BI.
It's like, I don't know. It's like if you could, I don't know, it's cool. Okay. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners if they aren't already familiar with you? Where are you? What do you do? Give us all the things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, hello. It's nice to meet all of you. And to those who requested, thanks so much. I'm Lesley Logan. I am a Pilates instructor, breathwork, mindset, habits coach, and fitness business coach. I am now located in Las Vegas. It's a little weird to say because I lived in LA for 14 years. So some of you might be surprised that I'm in Las Vegas. And trust me, my husband and I were definitely surprised that we moved and that we love it so much. But I am the founder of onlinepilatesclasses.com and Profitable Pilates. And yeah, I mean, like we can dive into every one of those things, but
Yeah.
I'm also the host of the Be It Till You See It podcast. So there's that as well.
Amazing. Amazing. And we'll link all of that stuff in the show notes. I think the most interesting thing to me about you is just how you have so many different businesses that are all so successful. And like, I think the most interesting thing that I can't wait to just hear from you on is like, how do you manage all of that? You have so much awesome stuff going on. But before we get there, I know you just said you lived in LA for 14 years. So talk to me about like how you found Pilates. Like, where did that even start with you?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I was living in Orange County. I went to college down there. And really I chose a college to escape. So I wasn't really good at SAT scores. And I was supposed to move to Hawaii. That didn't happen. And so I was like, well, who takes a girl with bad SAT scores, but a 4.0? Like, what schools are those? Private schools. Private schools will take your money. So I picked one by the beach in California, and I moved as far away as I could from my hometown. And no offense to anyone from my hometown, that was personal. That was my thing, my own thing. But I just didn't
What
feel
is
like I
your
belonged.
hometown?
I'm from Lodi, California. So
Okay.
check your red wine labels, your Zinfandel labels. You know it. They have great
Got
wine.
it. Got it.
But I was not the daughter of a winemaker or a farmer or anyone with money. And I just I never felt like I belonged. And then I went to college and that I didn't really feel like I belonged there. And so interestingly enough, somebody at my work suggested I do Pilates with her. And I was like, that is some infomercial shit. Like, well, can I cuss on here? Can we do that? Okay. That's some infomercial shit. Like, just can't do what you wanted to do. But I went anyways because I needed a friend. And in that first class, in the first exercise, I actually felt what it's like to belong in your body. And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, like it's really like to feel like you belong in your body. And the reality is you can't really belong anywhere unless you belong in yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that then, but I just knew that I needed that feeling again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to Pilates. I changed my entire work schedule. I ran a boutique so I could, and
Yeah.
I went to Pilates every single day. This is pre on demand anything. Like people are doing the VHS stuff still. And that's how old I am.
If there's
And
any Gen Zers listening that are like, what's a VHS? Don't tell us. We don't want to know that you don't know what it is.
I'm an elder millennial, very proud of it. We do work. We work very hard. So, but I had this calling to move to Los Angeles, and the company I worked for had an opening, and it was in 2007. And then I found a woman who was like, you should teach this. And I was like, can I? Like, it's so weird for me to think that I actually was so close-minded to think I could learn more things, but I was like suffocating from student loan debt. And so I thought I went to college and now I have to use this degree.
Yeah.
But I became a Pilates instructor, and during a recession, so again, Gen Zers, if the millennials don't like you, it's because every single time in our life, something has come up. But I didn't know that that the recession would hurt me. I didn't know that people wouldn't buy something that I felt was so passionate about. And I had to quit my real job. And because I was teaching so many clients so fast because I was so passionate about it. And fast forward to when I met my now husband, he was the one who was encouraging me to go online. And he was the one helping me build my coaching website because I had all these ideas, but I have no tech skills. I mean, I definitely have learned through osmosis a little bit, but I just didn't have those things. And around 2014, I started traveling the world to teach Pilates. Got really famous because of who trained me and the business side, because people like, you can teach and you know business. Like I thought there was no money in this. And I was like, there's so much money.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so it just kind of like snowballed and kind of and that's actually how I ended up with so many businesses. Cause I kind of started I was watering seeds at the same time. That's not something we promote anymore. We definitely want you to go a mile deep on one, but at any rate, like everything happens the way it's supposed to. And when you get to look back at your life and you get to see that's the domino effect that was happening. And that kind of just led me to what we're doing now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So one of the biggest things that I've always noticed is, I mean, profitable Pilates and online Pilatesclasses.com. Those are amazing domains. And like, that's such an amazing name. Like the way that you're able to name things. So it makes sense to me that you're saying that, Brad came to you in 2014 and was like, I really think that we should, put this online, because that was before domain names, I guess, were kind of crazy. So did he have training in that?
Yeah.
Like, was he okay?
Okay. So let me just say, Profitable Pilates was my thing before I met him. And I did buy that URL. Because I wrote a book. I wrote a book called Profitable Pilates, Everything But the Exercises. Y'all, I don't care if you teach Pilates or you teach boxing. Read my book. It is like basically the questions I ask are the same things you should ask about any certification anywhere. Awesome. The first few chapters are like really like making sure that you know what program to pick, because so many people are selling these weekend trainings and they're telling you can make thousands of dollars. I promise you can't. I promise you, you're going to feel like an imposter, and you're going to get to another studio and they're gonna be like, oh, you have to take this training instead. So that's what my book is there for. And then I go into things about what your website should have. How do you actually like get things? How about that?
What? I can hear you still.
Okay. Just trying to turn my do not disturb off. There we go. Okay. Do not disturb is on. Okay. Cool.
Good. So you're saying your book.
Yeah. So in the book, we go over like the website, we go over like all these different things, like continuing education, where you can teach, all this stuff. And I had that website and it was for the book. Just so you know, if you build it, they don't come. You have to actually promote that stuff. And this is before Instagram, BI. And then, but with online Pilatesclasses.com, this is what's really crazy. This is why you should never, ever underestimate anything you do, everyone, or like think that the names will be taken, because let me just tell you, we bought that domain 4 years ago. It was still out. It was still sitting there. So, my website used to be called LesleyLoganPilates.com. And that felt very limiting. Because if I think about like what I want to do in the future, all these different things, it kind of limited me to LesleyLoganPilates.com.
Yeah.
And my husband and our now project manager, she was just working for us for 5 hours at the time, part-time, like doing odd and editing stuff. They were doing some SEO stuff and they were Googling like, what are the top searches around Pilates? Pilates classes online was the top search. So they're in GoDaddy and they're just playing around with URLs. And wouldn't you know it, online Pilatesclasses.com was just sitting there.
Oh, wow.
So we only don't think your idea has been taken, because my friends own the other massive online Pilates platforms and none of them, they bought a bunch of URLs around their name and they didn't buy that one. So like, that's just how you know things are like meant to happen for you. They're like, it's sitting there. It's just being protected for me.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating that it was only 4 years ago.
I know.
That it feels like one of those URLs that I'm like, oh yeah, surely that was like 1996 or something. Like it just feels like one of like,
well, because I can't get LesleyLogan.com. Cannot. It's available.
Wow.
It's sitting there. It's not being used. There was an author from Scotland for like when I was LesleyLogan.com has been gone since I was a child, because for whatever reason, as a kid, I was like, oh, I want to have my own website.
Smart.
I don't know why I thought that, but I
born
couldn't buy
entrepreneur.
it.
That's why
I was a born entrepreneur. And so we have tried to give them money and we have even hired people to buy the domain from whatever the estate is, and no one will return our emails. Like I've tried giving them thousands of dollars. So that's why. Wow. So I've been very lucky in some ways, and I can't get my own name.
Yeah. That's so funny. I know somebody's been holding hostage foreverfriday.com too, and it's nothing. And they want to charge me like $10,000. And I'm like, no. No.
You know, I keep working on, because our friends, my yoga teacher is able to buy, that's not yoga.com. And then the person who had the Instagram handle was like not using it and holding it hostage. Yeah. And every once in a while they go, hey man, we'll pay you for this. Hey man, finally they got it for a few $100. Like you just you just get someone on a random day. They're like, just take it. Yeah. You need the money.
Okay, mate, that's smart. I'm going to keep trying. Okay. So let's go back to when you had graduated from your teaching program and you were, teaching a bunch of people all over the place. What was your sweet spot? What was your favorite sort of thing to coach people on in Pilates? Like, who was your favorite client? Not like actual person, but like type of person. Like, what did your business look like then?
Well, because, I just really wanted to teach everyone. I kind of took I got a lot of referrals from other teachers. They gave me all the clients I didn't want, which is so an interesting thing. But, my first clients were at the time, they were 50, 60 and 62, I want to say. Yeah. Cause I had them for 12 years. So,
wow.
The pandemic is what ended that relationship actually.
Wow.
But I loved them, but they were not, I was like, I do not want to teach more. This is a lot. Like when people are older and they didn't start working out younger, there's just a lot. Now
it's a lot to take on.
It is, but also like I used to work out next to a woman who is 82 and doing some of the same Pilates moves as me. So if you start young, it's endless, right? But so for my new teaching abilities, they were a real struggle for me because I'd keep researching, like, what can I do? What can I do? And now I could take anybody, but my favorites were, the trainers. I loved teaching the trainers so much. And I taught them, they weren't necessarily clients, but I wanted their clients. So I kept training them, teaching them so they would refer me clients. And then that ended up leading me into, I was the Pilates coach for an elite running team. Awesome. And so I was training marathon runners and like further distance runners. And that was so fun. So I did love, obviously I love my ladies. I love my mamas. I had a lot of them because I think what made me happy to teach them is that I could kind of give them advice based on like what I didn't love as a child from my mom. I was like, here, let me help you out with that situation. How about, and then also moms and women in general are so unlikely to give to themselves first. Yeah. That, I felt like I got to help them pour into them so that they could actually like raise amazing people who will be on this planet and we'll all be dealing with on TikTok or YouTubes or whatever. But but eventually after my first few years, I was able to really zero in a niche down. And I was teaching some of the women, the moms still, but also because it was LA, I got a lot of celebrities, not any ones that I had to pay to teach because that does exist. That's an interesting thing there. The ones that paid me. And then I had football players and they're so fun. They're so fun to teach because they actually like to film themselves and then watch the film because that's how they learn. And so
they learn.
Yeah. So,
that is fascinating.
Yeah. So I ended up, starting out teaching all the people. Then it ended up just being mamas and football players and some celebrities. And then my final years, teaching in person were a lot of teachers, a lot of teachers. Okay. Yeah. A lot of Pilates. And then
is that when Profitable Pilates sort of really came to be one of your main focuses?
So Profitable Pilates became one of our largest income streams back in 2016 is when I started to focus on that being an income stream and I started offering coaching calls. So I released my book in 2013 and I was doing workshops around the world. And then in 2016 is when I was like, I'm going to make going to make a membership site like the New York
Mhm.
Times. And I'm going to have blog posts that have information that you can see a little bit, but you have to pay to see the rest. That's what
Yeah.
everyone was doing. Now it's what every magazine does. Before then,
Yeah.
everyone's like, what are you doing charging me to read a blog? Like, this will be a thing someday.
Yeah.
Anyways, no one bought it. So I had to like go back to the drawing board, and I started doing
Yeah.
webinars, and I would do one a month, and those were selling like 50 to 60 people were coming. I was charging $75 for those. And so that's a lot of money if you think about just like a 1 hour of work and a little bit of Instagram marketing.
Yeah.
And then it led into, in 2018 is when I launched agency, which is my coaching membership. And so now that's 2018, I will say, is like the year that it really started to become a thing I could live off of and pay my employee. And then 2020 is when we like it's its full blown own vertical that has its own team and all the things.
Wow. What was the tipping point that really brought it into being a massively successful program?
So I think consistency
Mhm.
is key. I
Mhm.
don't think that if I had launched in 2020, it would be what it is.
Yeah.
Many people had been watching me since 2013 from the book.
Wow.
That joined in 2020. It's pretty crazy. I was like, really? You've been waiting a long time
Yeah.
for this
Yeah,
love.
but isn't that so interesting? Because that's what a lot of my clients, I always feel like, I just feel like it's such a lesson that needs to be repeated so often, that there is a lot of people are just in it for the long game. And you might have people that have been following along with you for years. They're not going to make a purchase sometimes for 3, 4, 5 years,
Yeah,
but they will.
they
And
will.
it's such an interesting thing to me that, like, it's just a lesson that you have to learn. The longer you've been in business, the more you learn it. But it's hard. It's a hard lesson, I think, to learn in the beginning of like, why aren't they buying from me immediately?
Oh, right. And it's not personal, so don't take it that way.
Yep.
And so I think like I'm grateful for the failures that I had in 2016, because it really made me get back to the drawing board, and it made me survey people. And I just was like asking market research questions as much as I could.
Mm.
And then, the 2 years we had our membership, our coaching group agency before the pandemic, were really hard because people don't like memberships, like people drop off. So we learned a lot. We used to let people join for a month, like monthly memberships. That doesn't happen anymore. You got to commit. Otherwise it just doesn't work. But those 2 years of trying things out, doing an email launch marketing, seeing how that did. And then finally, I actually was in another mastermind, and a woman who's now my coach, but then she was just in there to speak. She said, this is how I launched. This is how I do my launch. And she showed me step by step. And my husband and I wrote it down. We wrote it like, okay, did that. Okay. I can do that. Literally 3 weeks later, I was like, this is what I'm doing. It's a mini version of what I do. And we had the biggest, we had 22 people join at one time, which is, we're talking after 2 years, we get like 5 or 10 people here and there, but like nothing, 22 people. And then in May of 2020, we ran that program again and we got 60 people. And that was like,
Wow.
so the tipping point was really May of 2020. And I
Yeah.
will say, I think it's because of back then, 2 months into the pandemic, people were finally looking for coaches. They're like, oh my God, I need help with this.
Mhm.
And my people who were in my program in March 2020,
Mhm.
we like, as soon as I could tell the world was shutting down, I gave them a free teaching on how to teach people online. Don't change your rates. Your rates are the same. I don't care what your walls are. I don't care if it's on a screen. If it's live, it's the same price.
Mhm.
And we poured into our members so much so that even our California members who'd been closed for 14 months, their studios were closed.
Yeah.
They're still members. They're still in business. They're still making money. So
Wow.
that May being the tipping point was just because of the consistency of results and
Yeah.
pouring into the people that we did have. And I think that's something people forget, is like, we're looking for more. Got to
Mhm.
pour into what you got.
Yep. 100%. I keep saying that. I did a post on it yesterday, but acquisition and retention, like, you need to have balanced plans for both. You cannot be putting all of your money and all of your effort into acquisition and then assume people are going to stay with you, and vice versa. You can't be, just putting all of your effort into retention and assuming that they're going to bring in new people for you. Like, you do need to have a balanced plan for both. So I think that's just such an amazing point that you bring up.
Yeah. I had a coach tell me the first bite of a burger is like the best. And then the second and third bite are like, okay. Or the second time they order the burger, then the third time, and then finally like, you want to try something else over here. And so you have to make like, and that's for memberships. Like we have 2 memberships and people look at them like it's printing money. It's not. If you want, go open a coffee shop like that. I can't like that is still printing money to this day, but a membership site requires money and energy in both of those things, as you just mentioned. And that is a hard thing to do, but it's a balance. And sometimes the scales tip one way and you're like, ooh, I got to get over here and do this. So, just know that and find your cadence.
Yeah. What goes into you being at the head of the membership? Like what sort of things do you need to put into running the business, making sure that your members are happy? Like, are you in there sending DMs? Like how much time? Because I think a lot of people have the misconception, like you show up and you teach something for an hour and maybe you spend 20 minutes playlisting and that's it. And it's so not the case. So, what do you like, what goes in it on your end?
Yeah. So I pride myself in creating safe, positive communities. And the only way you can do that is if you're in them. And so, with OPC, that's what I call onlinepilatesclasses.com. And our members love to go, me. I love it.
You have to have swag that says that.
We totally do.
Okay,
we totally do. And I have there's some members in there who have been doing Pilates since Joseph Pilates' second studio. So the studio after he died, the people that started one, like I have those type of people and they're like, yeah, me. I'm like, they don't know the music video clearly. Bless their souls. But I love them. So with OPC, I do have a team. I think it's really important because people are like, how do you do it all? We just hired 2. So we're at like 24 people now, 23 or 24 people on a team between all 3 brands. So I don't do a lot of the things that that get people hung up. And yes, that means that I had to make some money, but that a lot of our profit margins right there are going into the team because that's how you grow. So with OPC, I do have to create the class plans and then I have to make the classes and that takes a lot of time. I did just bring on 3 new teachers because I wanted to continue to grow that membership and I wanted women to see themselves in somebody as a teacher. So we have a 6-foot tall teacher with pink hair and tattoos. And we have a teacher who calls herself the fat Pilates teacher. She's a bigger bodied person. And I love that because even though I believe that Pilates is for everybody, I know that people looking at me might go, yeah, right. You don't know what it's like to be me.
Yep.
And then we have a woman of color and I'm hoping to bring on a couple other people of different demographics as we grow. And that just requires more members for us to do that, but we will. So I manage them and what their content classes are. And then I create my own content and then I engage with the members in the members only group every day. So yes, on a day off, I don't have to go in there, but I do make sure that there's not a post that is put up there that I haven't liked and commented on. And that is work, everyone. That is totally work. And yes, I can condense it into 3 days if I wanted to, if I want to take 4 days off, I don't really stress about it now, but to create that community to be what I wanted it to be, where when a new member comes in, 40 people are like, welcome to the most amazing community. I had to do that. I had to be that energy.
Yep.
And then for Profitable Pilates, I will say I spend 1 to 3 hours in that group 5 days a week.
Wow.
1 to 3.
Wow.
That's a lot of time. There's 160 businesses in there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what your membership level is. I check on you every week. That's what we said. That's what we said I do. Now, if you post a comment in one of the main channels, great, done. I checked on you. But if you didn't, at the end of the week, I have a list and I go through the list and like, where are you? How you doing? Because I know that when you are working on your business, there's going to be days where you're in implementation mode and days where you're hiding behind a rock and you're hoping no one sees you. Maybe people forget about you. You're so embarrassed. And I'm like, knock, knock, knock. Hi.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't respond to me, but I see you. You're amazing. So that takes a lot of my time, which means I have to have people doing other things for me because I spend so much time.
Oh, that's so nice though, to hear that even though you have a team of 23, 24 people, you're still in there and you're still, because I think about that all the time where I'm like, how can I stay in my Slack channel and answer people whenever they have questions? Like that's the most important thing. So what else can you sort of take off of the plate and give to other people?
Yeah. Yeah. And that requires trust. And and also really understanding your brand and what the needs are, but also like, when it was just me and it was just 60 members, I was like probably micromanaging things a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And so when it grew almost, it like doubled overnight in May of 2020, I had to go, okay, what's the system? How do we make this happen? How do we make sure everyone feels seen? And you have to play with things. But one thing that I know for sure is that if I am not resourced, if I am burnt out, I can't be there for anybody, not myself, not anyone on the team, not any of our members. And so I just really have to protect that. And I've been working on how do I bring in different people of different expertise into that group? How do we do it in a way that the margins allow? How do we do it? Because I see so many coaching programs that are 5 months, 6 months, $10,000, $15,000. And yes, those are great for the people who want to be in small groups, that want a container. But I really, really do pride myself in being an accessible coaching program for people who are brand new or we've got people in there for 30 years. We've got studios that are going to do $1.2 million this year. Wow. That's huge money. Yeah. Everyone needs to have a place where they feel seen.
100%. I love that. Talk to me about some of the growing pains that you had in May 2020. Like when you had this influx of new people, I know you just said like you had to look at your systems. What were the first few things that you were like, okay, I need to fix this and I need to, optimize the way that this thing runs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, in March, Brad and I were in Cambodia. We got there February 28th.
I love Cambodia.
And we have a retreat house there. It's like a 12 bedroom. Yeah. Y'all, we're going to do a retreat in November.
And it's where in Cambodia?
In Siem Reap. We have a 12 bedroom guest house just down the street from Pub Street, 20 minutes from the temples. And so we've had it for years.
You know the cafe Joe to Go?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there like every single day for 2 weeks. Fun fact for everyone listening, I dated a guy who taught for the school that Joe to Go sponsored. Yeah. So
okay. That is so crazy.
Such a coincidence.
So Little Red Fox Cafe is where I would work every morning inside of, it's in Condal Village. Y'all, this is like a tiny little village next to the Children's Hospital. And it's like, it makes you think of like a boutique street in LA or like, Chelsea Village. It's very, very hip, very unique. And I would go there in the morning and then I would move over to this other like vegan restaurant. Believe it or not, they have these like vegan restaurants in Cambodia. I mean, most Southeast Asian food can be vegan. It's pretty easy, but at any rate, I was there and I would work there. So I would, when I'm not on a retreat, I would work all day between those two places because free air conditioning and it's expensive to run. But at any rate, we were there. Our retreat started on March 8th, which if anyone knows the dates, March 11th is when the World Health Organization called it a worldwide pandemic. I was literally on a retreat and I said, well, we're already retreating. And at the time, Cambodia had only had 2 cases and they already had were fierce about it because they don't have the hospital system. Most Southeast Asian countries, most third world countries don't. So they're really like on top of it. And so it was felt really safe. It felt really beautiful to be there. But then as we flew home, I did pay for the internet to basically read my entire year's calendar, cancel. And people asked for a lot of refunds. And so I was like, oh man, 8 countries, 3 retreats had to get canceled, a lot of things. And so, so the first week back was just getting like recouping costs. So what I knew, and this is like everyone listening to this is how you can see yourself in this. What comes easy for you that you might actually think everyone knows they don't know. So I had already been teaching online. And now everyone had to do that. So I told you already, I taught all of our agency members how to do this. And then I put up a workshop and I said, I'm going to teach you this Saturday. It's a 1-hour workshop. It costs this much money. You're going to literally make more money after this workshop and you're not going to stress about it. And we made back the London workshop that I had to cancel and refund. Wow. And then I taught a Pilates class to people. I was like, hey teachers, you have time. Let me teach you. And I taught that and that paid for another contract I had. So I was like, okay, we got back to the first, we're back to zero. But so what we ended up doing, because I had all this time now And all the clients that I was actually going to move on to other teachers in April, because I was like, my year is too crazy. I'm going to have to move some clients. None of them wanted to do virtual. So all of a sudden I was down to half my like 6 hours of teaching. So I could create the system. So one thing that we created was we actually did an onboarding system. So all of our agency members go into a mini Slack channel and they learn Slack. And so that way, when they do join the main group, it's not chaos.
Yeah.
They have a little education around it. They can't join there till their contracts are signed, till they've learned how to do all the different things. And so that way they're in this container. And then some other systems that we put in place are just like, what are the step-by-steps of the processes for my filming? And so we use a project management tool called Monday. And so every single thing is like every single thing I have to do is a task. And when I click off, like I film something, it literally lets the editor know, okay, that video is in the cloud. And so he can pull it out. So I don't have to like text Jay, like, hey, you can go edit this now. Like he gets pinged. So we spent a lot of time.
It takes a lot off your plate.
Yeah. Just different things like that. And so just really tightening things up. And that's the non-sexy stuff. It's really annoying. It's so boring. But now 2 years later, the fact like I take for granted how little I have to talk to anybody about what they have to do.
You know what I always like to say though, like how sexy is it once you have the systems in place? It's amazing. You feel like such a boss when when all your things are running themselves and it doesn't require you, and you can like go get a manicure instead of texting Jay or waiting for him to answer the phone. You know what I mean? Like, what a sexy thing when all your systems are just a well-oiled machine. So I love, love, love this conversation.
Yeah.
So
my husband is, cause he was, he was the COO of the company. And then in August of 2020, we made him the CEO of all of them because I'm actually not a CEO and proud of it. And so he is like, look at this. He's like, so-and-so has this. I'm like, okay. He goes, and I didn't have to do anything. He like goes, look, it's like, I mean, you have a podcast. We have a podcast board. We have multiple boards because all I want to do is see who I have to interview and then say I interviewed them. Yeah. But there's like 7 other people who have to touch an episode. And so the team used our project, the tool to like cross talk on different boards. And they're like so proud of it. And I'm like, I'm just so grateful that all I do is go recorded. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. This question has been on the brain and I really have wanted to ask you for a while. So you have, you said 160 small businesses. As someone, you do have a very specific niche. So I'm assuming, those are 160 like Pilates based businesses.
Yeah. I have a chiropractor, a couple doulas, there's some other, a nutritionist and a bar instructor, but for the most part, they're mostly Pilates.
Yeah. Let's talk about oversaturation. I know a lot of instructors and a lot of studio owners feel it and they get worried about it. I have my own thoughts about it, but what do you feel? Do you feel like oversaturation is real? And how do you sort of coach your business owners around it?
Well, what do you mean by oversaturation? Like in the market? Like there's too many teachers?
There's just too many Pilates and there's too many online Pilates instructors right now.
Oh, that belief. I mean, I understand where that belief comes from. And I will just say like, what a great excuse for you to not do what you're being called to do. And you can live behind that excuse forever. And every single other person's going to agree with you. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, there are so many. No one's going to ever go wrong. Except for me, I'll say this, like the reality is like especially when it comes to online, like it's the person who lasts the longest is the one that's going to win. And I think, is it Seth Godin or I think it's Seth Godin who wrote The Dip. Who wrote The Dip? I want to say it's him. It's not Malcolm Gladwell. Is it Malcolm Gladwell? Anyways, someone will look it up. The Dip is the book though. And it basically is that all ideas have been done before. I mean, obviously like now there's cryptocurrency. So there's a couple things, but really it's just money. So all ideas have been done before. All the careers that are out there have been done before. if you can see what the average is of a membership. So even though like maybe your fitness membership is pretty new, it's not. Like look back at like, what was the point where people got like stopped? So with memberships, the average membership stops around 3 to 6 months. So if you
Wow.
can just last past that,
Yeah.
if you can have the money and the longevity last past that, you're already one of the top. And then you just have to get like, there's just like these different levels. So for me, oversaturation isn't really a thing I worry about because one, I focus on quality over quantity on everything that we do. Two, I really double down on what is unique about what we do. So that's really key. I don't actually market like I teach Pilates online. I actually market like fill your cup first, do life better, connect to yourself so you can connect to others. Like things that make us really stand out is that we're a Pilates platform, but we're first and foremost, like, did you do something for yourself today? And we use Pilates as a thing that you do for yourself. And, but it's not like, here, come here for the Pilates. Like we really do focus on like what makes us uniquely different. Yeah. And then the other thing is like, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet. I don't need that many of them. Like 1,000 is all I need. Right. Yeah. So, and we're talking 1,000 to have the dreams I have. For the average person, 50 is all you need. For a brick and mortar, that's a solo teacher, 20 to 30. If you're a studio with multiple teachers, maybe you need 100, but the reality is you don't need that many people. And so I just don't think that there's such a thing as oversaturation. I do think that there's a difference in like, there's a lot of people with not super solid education in fitness in general. I don't think it's necessarily just one regimen, one modality, but I do think that the quality of teaching could be improved, but that's, you know what? That's also not my business.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my business. If you're getting people results, you'll have business.
Yep. 100%. I totally agree with you. I think, there's so many people in the world and, you know, somebody will find one specific thing you do and one little thing about your personality that they look at and they're like, oh, that's my person. And they form that bond. And I think I totally agree with you. So I always just want to reiterate that because I think there are a lot of people that try to talk themselves out of things, you know, just like you said. And that's seems to be a common way to talk yourself out of going for it. It is, by the way, it's The Dip by Seth Godin.
Oh, so thank you.
Anybody wants to read it, I looked it up.
You can Blinkist it if you want, you know, that little shortener book. If you don't want to read a whole book.
Yeah. I've never done that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I did it for a little bit and then, I felt like I was cheating. So I really do. I really do love to listen to a whole book, but it is fun if you want to like listen to it and then you're like, okay, I want to know all the stuff. Yeah. But
especially for professional development books, like those, I'm just like, oh my God.
Are you reading
them for 6 hours?
Are you reading The Messy Middle?
No, I have not read that one.
Oh my God. I'm still in the middle of it. I don't know where it is. I don't think I unpacked it for my Christmas trip, but like, it's one of those things you can like read 2 pages and go, okay. Yeah. And it is like a textbook size, textbook hardback.
Oh my God. I started reading Expansion. Have you read that? And I was like, it was so dry. Everyone was like, it's the best book for business. And I was like, really? I'm having a hard time getting through it, but it's supposed to be really great and really good for, you know, just learning how to scale authentically. So,
okay. Maybe I'll put it on Audible and I'll put it at 1.5 speed.
Exactly. Okay. Are you ready to get into some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Your absolute number one favorite song to work out to?
To work out to. Okay. Lizzo.
Okay.
Like, I can't think of the actual name of the song right now.
100% that bitch song.
Yes, that one. That's the one. That's the one. Also, is it Todrick Hall? Nails, Hair, Hip, Heels.
Okay.
I got caught dance walking to that song in the Dallas airport with my girlfriend was in the same terminal and I was supposed to meet her. So I knew I was going to come across her, but I have my like suitcase and I was like, I don't look a sachet. And I was like twirling as I like listened to the song and it's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, well here, just put this AirPod in and join me.
That's amazing. That's the energy you want to bring onto a trip. I love that. I mean, I think that you said it already, but software that you can't run your business without.
Okay. So we use Slack.
Mhm.
And no, we don't pay for it. So nothing important actually goes in there because it will delete because we do the free version. We do
Yep.
pay for Monday.com. That is an incredible tool. Other software, and like I mean, it doesn't have to be Zoom, but like I love
Yeah.
video. I've been
Yeah.
FaceTiming people too, but like, because our team doesn't live here,
Mhm.
I want to see their faces. So those are
Yeah.
my big things. And then you have to have a website. I don't give a fuck what people
Yep.
say. Like, oh, you don't have
Yep.
a website. You can just use
Yep.
this scheduling app. No,
Preach.
Google is real. Okay.
Preach.
And
Yep.
I don't care if you're famous on Instagram.
Mhm.
No one is Googling for workouts near them. And
Mhm.
Instagram's like, here, check out this person.
Right.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Even if you
Yep.
geotag yourself, have a
Yep.
website.
Yep. Even if all of your classes are on an external platform and you think that everything is fine, you still need your own website.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And also just because you don't, all these other platforms that you're putting your stuff on, y'all, if you don't own it, you need to have something backed up
Mhm.
because platforms are not forever.
Yep. They'll go
People,
down.
and also servers go down, all these things. So like we
Yep.
also like, we have all of our stuff on all different servers so that we like nothing, like something can go down and we still have access to something else. Like again, my husband's the CEO, not me.
I love it. This is going to be an interesting one for you. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, okay. I would love to live in Cambodia most of the time.
Wow.
I really would.
Mhm.
I think that if I can get my studio there, that would probably be the best thing. But I also have to say that Brisbane, Australia is like kind of like a Venice, Cambodia vibe. It's like Venice beach with Cambodia humidity. And so, and the beach is right there. So I think I could live there for a
Yeah.
long time. I know you asked for one place, but I also do feel like rapid fires, y'all, just so
No, I know. I'm the
worse
same
at them.
way.
So, I would love to also live in Mexico.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to look at San Miguel de Allende because it's a very artist community. And
Mhm.
there's just something about Spanish style homes that I just
Mhm.
really love. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Love that. As somebody who loves humidity so much, why did you move to Las Vegas?
dude, I'm dying. We do have a humidifier in our room. We moved to Las Vegas for space.
Yeah.
So I went from a 500 square foot apartment. Y'all don't
Oh.
tell me you can't build a business in something small. We built that business. I lived in that apartment for 7 years,
Wow.
500 square feet. And in the pandemic, June 2020, we moved to a 5-bedroom home.
Wow.
Same
Yeah.
cost of living.
Yeah.
So,
So good. Yeah, I
so
know.
that's
I know.
Vegas is LA's backyard. So I was
Yeah.
just there last weekend. So it's like, I can still go to LA if I
So
want.
easy. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Advice that you would give your younger self.
I would tell her to stop trying to be perfect much earlier. I think I
Mhm.
learned that lesson way too late in life, and she was a perfectionist. So
Mhm.
I would have told her, like, get messy, make mistakes, do it anyway. And also, most importantly, don't give a fuck what people say about you,
Yeah.
because that doesn't even matter.
Yep. Yeah. Love it. All right. Dream job besides what you're doing right now, like something totally outlandish and crazy.
Yeah, I actually want to be a lipstick model, and I want to create names for lipsticks. If anyone's listening to this and knows how I can actually do that, I feel like I could do those things in conjunction with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But I'm obsessed with lipstick, specifically reds. Don't tell me I can't wear red. There's a red for everyone. And I also want to name
I
them.
need you to find me a red. I feel like I can't ever figure out one.
So y'all do some research. I don't get paid by NARS, but I've tried. So NARS is owned by Shiseido. They did a ton of research on colors that any skin tone can wear. And they have 5. And I have seen a woman of color put on the same pink as I put on, and it looks incredible on her. It's a different looking shade than on me, but every single person could wear that pink. It just looked because so there are 5 shades of lipstick that they put together that it doesn't matter what your skin tone is, what color your complexion is, it will look good on you. Now you might look at it and go, no way am I putting that pink on? Yes, you will. And yes, you'll look good.
Okay. Amazing. Have you seen, I know this is not rapid fire. What is it? YSL has come out with a lipstick printer. Did you see that? Yeah. Okay. So you buy cartridges. I just saw a TikTok of it the other day.
And then what do you put it on your, like a lip? You put it on your lips?
So you buy, it's like this big, it's like the size of, a microphone, and you buy cartridges that insert into the bottom of the printer. And then on your phone, you can use a color picker app. So like I could even, yeah. So I was watching this girl and she took a picture of like this one model that she really liked. She like chose the color of her lip that she like, and then it prints out like a tiny little bit, like enough for a day. But the top part then detaches so you can like bring it with you for the day and keep using that one.
Oh my God.
I
This going on my list is a
Wild.
must need.
I have
because
no idea how expensive it is.
I'm sure it's outrageous, but I have like 40 lipsticks and I will literally get upset if I can't find them. I'm like, where's Grace? I can't find Grace. And Brad's like, well, I think you can wear Annabelle. I'm like, it's not the same. They're different.
I love him. Okay. Last question. One lesson that you took from the pandemic that you want to keep with you.
Space in your schedule, space in your day, space between things that you're doing. Just like, I think that everyone was trying to put in too much in a day. And I think the more you can space things out, the more you can actually get a bigger picture of what's going on.
Oh my God. I love that so much. Okay. Lesley, where can people find you? How can they keep up with you?
So if you're interested in Pilates, then onlinepilatesclasses.com. If you're interested in fitness business coaching, profitablepilates.com. And you can find me on Instagram under Profitable Pilates and my name, Lesley Logan.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Or you can listen to this voice if you really liked it and how fast I talk on the Be It Till You See It podcast. How about that?
Amazing. We will link all of that stuff in the show notes. Amazing. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. And yeah, just love connecting with you every time.
Oh my God. We're going to do this more. This is way too fun. Thank you again, everyone, for listening. And I would love to hear how you use these. Like, what was your takeaway? Tag me, tag Alexa. I think it's really fun to hear how these conversations can inspire people.